Hello everyone, I'm Captain Logan. Welcome back to the Captain Logan Show. Tonight, Jason is taking over for DJ because we're just working from my phone tonight. So we didn't have any way to get DJ in here. So DJ, I did not mean to kick you out. Sorry that worked out this week. But Jason's filling in. And Jason, thanks a lot for modding tonight.
Yeah.
Tonight is going to be a regular Ask Me Anything show. You can ask anything under the sun within reason about pop culture stuff, superhero things, sci-fi stuff, anything that you want to chat about. And you can leave a super chat at any dollar amount that guarantees that we will chat about whatever it is you want to talk about tonight. Pop culture news stuff, anything you want to talk about. And we're going to do a little bit of a lead-in topic before that. Jason and I are out of town. We're in Branson, Missouri right now. We're in a cool little cabin that has been a lot of fun. It's surprisingly spacious, actually. We broadcast from here a couple days ago doing the Jurassic Plague discussion. We did a how we felt about on the new Jurassic World movie, Dominion, which, spoiler alert, I thought was awful, and it was no fun to talk about at all, and I decided I didn't want to do a spoiler cast on it, which is why somehow that video ended up still being an hour and 15 minutes long. Anyway, tonight's lead-in topic is going to not be news related. We thought about, there's a couple things going on that might come up tonight that I'm happy to chat about if you want to. We thought about doing more Joker news. We found out more about the Joker sequel like 24 hours after I did a show about it last week. So we had an official announcement about that. And then the very next day, it got interesting. And I was like, man, we already did a show on this. How come the Captain Logan Show can't be on Fridays? But anyway, so if you want to chat about that, we can, about the Lady Gaga thing and all of that. But
someone's already brought it up, so yeah.
Have they? Okay, cool. So you can at Jason in the comments there. He's taking your questions this evening. Also, bear with us a little bit because it's going to get hot in here, I think, and so hopefully my brain cells don't degenerate as we go along. But
don't lose brain cells.
The air conditioning is a little bit too loud in order to keep that on throughout the show tonight. We're also probably going to keep it to an hour because Jason has to get up real early tomorrow for the next leg of his dance competition. So unless we have just a whole lot of interest tonight, a whole lot of super chats and things, we will leave things to probably an hour. And I may go a little bit more lickety split through things than I usually do. I say that, I'm terrible at that, but I'm probably going to try. Anyway, so tonight's lead-in topic is going to be kind of fun, just about the things that Jason and I have been doing on the trip here. We'll try to keep this kind of brief, but we've got some new acquisitions and some recommends that we want to do for you. And Jason, first of all, why don't you tell everybody about your dance competition and what you're doing here in Branson this week, and we can show off the awards that you've gotten already.
Yeah, so basically we are in Branson, Missouri because of a dance competition that I have. So every year we go to Branson and I just have this like big dance competition from dances that I've been doing like all year. So it's kind of fun because it's dances that we've worked on a lot, and it's always a fun trip.
Daniel Davis says dance, Jason dance. We actually did a dance video together live a couple months ago.
Yeah, that was fun. And
Jason taught me how to dance, and taught me how to do a dance, and then he made it look way better. And you can see him do that on camera.
And then I did my solo, and I did my solo Tuesday.
Oh, that's true. You did do your solo on that video. Yeah, and it's the same thing that you just got your awards for.
Yeah, so I got a platinum, which is like so they're like, to my knowledge, there are like 3 that I know of that you can get. You can get high gold, which is just like you're there, like it's the participation award. Like
I guess they say hi to make you feel really good about it.
It's not good enough to be platinum, but it was a dance that happened. So I got, and then there's platinum. So it says platinum here. And then there's double platinum, which is like the best you can get, and that like basically if you get double platinum, you will probably place. Like, if you have platinum, you probably won't place, and then if you do place, you might be able to go to the shootouts where you can perform it again.
And you didn't place this time, but you got a special award, and you had placed with it before.
I did, yeah.
And then what was this?
I got the Achievement Award for Fabulous Feet, because I have feet.
I don't think it's an award just for having feet, Jason. I'm pretty sure everybody that dances must have feet, but you got a special award for exceptional tap dancing.
Yeah.
Essentially. Well, good job.
Yeah,
Congrats. And he's got 2 more days of dance, so he's done with a solo, but tomorrow he's got a group thing, and then Saturday, I don't even know what you got then.
Yeah, I've got a group thing, and then I got a big group, like a production, and then Saturday I have another production, which is like the hip-hop production.
Yeah.
And then we have shootouts for the group dances, which one of them will probably make it.
So anyway, that's what we're here doing. But we had the last couple of days off without having to really do anything too much dance related. So we went to several different places, did lots of cool things here, and we did this last year as well. But we did a little bit of new stuff this time around, and we got some new things, and we thought we would show some of those things off. Yesterday we did a thing that I don't know if I've ever done before, Jason. We went to an arcade, a comic shop, and a retro game store all in the same day. I don't know if I've ever done that before.
And Ripley's Believe It or Not music.
That's true. Actually, that's more than the trifecta of geekiness, right? You've gone to like a 4D chess kind of place.
Yeah.
Once you put in Ripley's Believe It or Not museum on top of the 3 things I just mentioned.
It's still pop culture. Like, they still have stuff
it is,
there
yeah.
that is pop culture.
Well, and some of the crazy things that people, that there are displays about there do are extreme, but also I would call kind of geeky. Like when you transform yourself into a lizard man. There's something somewhat geeky about that choice.
Yeah, that was...
There's a lizard man. He has 2 tongues. He actually has 2 tongues. We saw that. We didn't actually see the lizard man, but there's like a statue of the lizard man, and then there's a
like video
of him talking. Yeah. Anyway, so that was the thing we did. But we thought we'd show off some of the neat things we got. I got a few kind of retro decades old things that were kind of unusual to find in the wild. So I thought I'd show you those. First of all, I got a couple of cereal boxes. And I don't like avidly collect cereal boxes. I guess I have a couple. I have one from the Animated Tick on my wall at home.
Of course you do.
I forget what kind of cereal that was. But anyway, so I got the Batman Returns box. And these are pristine. Yes, I spent money on cereal boxes. Look at the shape these are in. It's awesome. They're sealed on the top. I assume like re-glued would be my assumption. But really good shape, not left out in the sunlight or anything. And I remember eating this cereal when it came out when I was a kid. And I especially remember the back of this box with the advertisement for the toys from that movie. Remember the penguin that was just a kind of re-release, repaint of an earlier penguin that Kenner had put out that looks nothing at all like Danny DeVito, but everybody else is actually based on the actors and characters from that movie. It was very strange. He's based on the Superpowers penguin, and I have the Superpowers version, but I never had the Superman Returns version, and so they colored it to try to make it look a little bit darker and go more in line with that movie. But you know, it doesn't look anything like Danny DeVito, and Danny DeVito doesn't dress like that. It's sort of like if they took, just for that movie, if they took the Mayor poster and they made it an action figure. That's what that is. But anyway, so that's pretty cool. That's actually the Batcave I had. I had I say that. There were a couple of different repaints of this, and I either had the Returns one or, you know what, I think I had the animated series one, which, again, it was the exact same Batcave, but this one had, that's what it was, but this one had pictures from Batman Returns in Batman's monitors, but some of the toys in the back I had. But anyway, so that is a neat thing to put in my collection, and now I want to try to get a cereal box from all 4 of the 90s Batman movies, because I also got one from Batman and Robin. Here's a Cornflakes box, and I paid more money for this, believe it or not. I should decide as if you could see the price tag. This one cost me $7, and this one only cost me $4.
That's insane.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? But I just couldn't believe the shape these were in. So yeah, and I could save $5 or $10 when I visit Six Flags theme parks if I get in a time machine and I go back to 1998. And then the coolest one I actually bought for Vince. So nobody tell him about it because I don't think he'll watch this live show. But I'm going to show you the Christmas present, or his birthday is right before Christmas. I'm going to show you the birthday present that I'm getting for Vince this year. And I couldn't believe they had that. They had this, and I paid. This was at a flea market, by the way, and I paid quite a bit more for this one. But this is a pretty rare Ghostbusters box. I checked with his wife and to make sure that he didn't have this, and he definitely doesn't. This is I don't know if you can see the hologram very well. This is a Slimer hologram that they put on a Ghostbusters cereal box when that movie came out. And this was one of 3. And so this box is the age I am. This box is 37, 38 years old. And I paid $25 for this, but I think it's worth it. Again, in ridiculously good shape, pretty rare, not a thing that you find all the time. And now I kind of want to go on the hunt for the other 2. But anyway, nobody tell Vince about that, or I'll have to give it to him really early. Okay, Jason, why don't you talk about the video games that you got?
Okay.
I'll grab them for you. We went to a retro game store yesterday,
yes.
And I didn't get anything, but Jason got something he's been looking for quite a while, and he also got a couple cartridges at the flea market that I just mentioned. So go ahead.
Yeah. So basically, last year we found this crazy.
Sit up a little bit so folks can see you're not just like a disembodied head. Anyway, good. What if you stood up? Would you be totally off camera? Okay, yeah. Then they can just see the earth. They can just see the cutaway of the earth. Anyway.
So basically we went to this crazy retro game store out of town, like out of Branson.
It's in Nixa, Missouri, which is about 20 minutes from Branson, and we visited it for the first time last year.
Yeah.
And it feels like a museum at the same time
insane.
as a store.
It's got Virtual Boys. It's got Nomads. It's got
Vectrix.
Yeah.
A lot of in-box stuff.
Yeah.
And most of it is for sale.
Yeah.
Expensive, but most of it's for sale.
And it's got like Game & Watches, and it's pretty cool. But I got an original DS there last year. But this time I got a game that I've been looking for forever, and I can't find it at vintage stock, and it's a little too expensive on like Amazon and stuff. And I just didn't really have the money for it until now. So I got Metroid Prime for the GameCube.
In pristine shape, by the way. That box looks amazing.
Yeah, this looks really good. So I am very excited to play this when I get home, because I want to finally collect I want to finally beat a Metroid game to say that I'm a Metroid fan, because I am a Metroid fan and I love the Metroid games. But I've never beaten one because I've only been a fan for like 2 months.
Well, you're kind of like that with Sonic too, right?
Yeah, true.
Like you think of yourself as a Sonic fan, but you can't get super far in Sonic games?
Yeah, I haven't beaten Sonic games.
We're working on it. And then this stuff.
And then these. So also last year, we went to that flea market, and we found this crazy video game booth with a bunch of Famicom and Super Famicom games. Just a bunch of like Japanese games. And because...
And Japanese in 64?
Yeah.
There's a whole box of that.
And because it's a bunch of Japanese games, they're all pretty cheap. So, and because we have a Retron 5, it's easy to play Famicom and Super Famicom games. Yeah,
pro tip real quick about playing old games on cartridges. If you're concerned, and as most of us are, about the prices going up constantly of cartridges, and it's getting increasingly cost prohibitive to collect and to play things on old hardware, especially. Sometimes, very often, it works better to buy Japanese versions, particularly of games that it doesn't matter if they're in English or not, because a lot of games, of course, if you go back far enough with side scrollers and things, the language doesn't really matter because there's not very much text, and it's not really about reading things. So if JRPGs, obviously you're going to be screwed unless you can read the kanji and you read Japanese. But stuff like this, usually you'd be okay. And a lot of this stuff you can get all day long online for not not too much money.
And
Retrons are the way to play Famicom and Super Famicom. Retron 5. There might be another one that plays, though I'm not sure. But the Retron 5 does. It plays like 7 different consoles.
And it is the way I read Japanese, because I really want to learn Japanese.
Yeah.
But I just haven't had the time, and I've tried, and it's a really hard language to learn. So I'm learning like an easier language now, and then like learning a harder one like Japanese.
That makes a lot of sense, honestly.
Mutawa, I want to visit.
I also want to visit Japan. Yeah.
Want to visit Japan.
Yep, that's at the top of our list.
Yes. It'll never happen. But...
And I don't never say never. I mean, I've got plans to eventually do that, and I'll certainly take you with me.
Yeah, but
and I want to take like $1,000 just to spend on video games.
Yeah,
like that's part of that saving up that trip money. I would want to bring enough with me, and then hope to God I had enough space on the on the airplane to bring everything back.
Yeah. So
but what did you get today, Jason?
So. Well, last year I got Super Mario Kart for SNES, for Super Famicom, and the Japanese version of Mario Tennis, which we still haven't made like US by taking the back of the cartridge and flipping it with a US back at the cartridge so it actually fits into a US port.
That's how you do that, yeah.
But I was gonna get the Super Mario Brothers for Famicom, but I didn't. And so I did it this time. And on top of that, I also got Dr. Mario.
And those were $6 a piece.
Yes.
Is all you had to pay for those.
Yeah. So what I do is, this doesn't work all the time, but sometimes I just, I just take the Google app, like not the Google Chrome app, but like the Google app, and then they have like a camera like thing, and then you just scan it, and then it Google translates.
Oh,
it doesn't work very well all the time, but it worked with the back of these. I could read this, and it was like, don't put this in fire, and don't put it in your mouth, and don't electrify it. I don't know why I had to read that. But.
You probably couldn't use that to figure out what all of those like Game Boy games are called, could you?
Probably could.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if it would just translate real words or if it would tell you what proper nouns were.
Yeah, I don't know.
We'll have to try that.
Yeah, I can test it with my...
We're living in the future, folks.
I can test it with my Pikachu ball cap because it has Japanese kanji that says Pikachu, I'm pretty sure. But I don't know what it actually says. I think it says Pikachu, but...
And you can't watch a Pikachu movie without a Pikachu ball cap. Okay, the last thing I want to show off real quick, and then we'll go ahead and start doing some questions. I want to show you guys a thing I bought at a comic shop yesterday. This is the new, it's not new anymore, this is like 25 years old. This is the new official Marvel tryout book. If I'd ever seen one of these before, I didn't know what it was. And once I inspected it a little bit and figured it out, I was like, I have to have this. And I actually bought this. I was in a comic shop, it was in plastic, and I didn't want to be a jerk and take it out of the bag. It was just an oversized bag with tape, and I was like, I don't want to take it out. But I thought it was cool enough to go ahead and get even without looking at it inside. And then when I got it to the front, the guy that sold it to me didn't even realize they had it in the comic shop. He's just a guy that works there, and he was like, "Oh, that's really neat. We should get out of the bag and see what's in it." So we did that. And so what this is, and it's even cooler once you get it open, it's in incredibly good shape. This came out in 1996. At first I thought it was just this cool oversized comic, and I have a few things almost this size. But what this actually is a book that they would sell to, I think it cost like $25 when it first came out. I paid $35 for it. So I paid the Canadian price at the time to get this now.
You're awesome.
And this is a thing that Marvel would sell to would-be comic artists to give them a sense of the Marvel method and let them know what it would take potentially to get a job there drawing for them. And so you pop this open and it gives you guidelines and about coloring and of course about art and layout. And it's this size because this is the size of comic canvas that you would be actually drawing your comics on. And it's It's put together really well. I mean, this probably wouldn't be a horrible thing to look at even now if you were an aspiring comic artist. Obviously, some expectations and conventions have changed, I'm sure. But then in the back, there are several pages, several blank pages of canvas to do your comic art on and do panels, and it's really cool. So anyway, I'm glad to have this in my collection. I was really surprised to run into this, and this is number 2 of this. I looked this up. I think they put out 3 or 4 of these in various years. And I think the first one maybe came out several years before this, but I'm not sure because I did just real quick research while we were at the comic shop. But anyway, Jason, we've got another thing we might talk to you guys about later if we need some material, but there are questions. Why don't we go ahead and start getting to them? We're already almost half an hour in. And I'm excited to see you guys. Thanks a lot for being here. We're going to talk about whatever you want to. Somebody mentioned a minute ago that a Wonder Man TV show has been announced. I'm going to assume that's a Disney Plus thing. I have not heard about that. Correct me if that's wrong, if that was announced for something else that Disney owns, if it's like a Hulu thing or something, because sometimes that happens. But that sounds like a thing they would probably do on, Natalia says Disney Plus. And then whoever mentioned that was like, so yay? And yeah, I guess that's how I would feel about that. I don't know if there are any details yet about who's playing him or anything. But yeah, I mean, nothing surprises me anymore. Now we're just going to the stable of characters. The MCU is where it's at in Marvel making money now, and they've got to try to adapt to every character that they possibly can, really saturate the thing for content. The name of the game is content now, and there's an argument for it if the quality was, in my opinion, a little bit higher. I feel like we're just kind of shoving these things out and rushing them really hard to try to keep people hanging on to their Disney Plus the subscriptions and to get Disney Plus subscriptions, and it's but the argument for it, if some of these shows were better, some of them were better than others, I think, but if some of them were a little bit better, the argument for it would just be, well, you've got all these characters in comics, why not try to translate comics to screen so that people that don't read comics or didn't grow up with comics can kind of have that experience with this universe that they're already invested in. So I honestly don't mind the sheer amount of this that we're making if it's better, although I think I still, even if it was all great, would be overwhelmed and would take my time with it and wouldn't want to watch everything right as it comes out necessarily. But that's just kind of a taste thing. I get a little bit burnout on it. But it's hard to say how much of that is just there's too much vying for my attention and how much of it is I've been disappointed already too much. And we've only had these shows for like less than a year. Has it been, what, 8 months at this point? Is that all? What, have we had 6 shows already? If you count Miss Marvel, which just started and doesn't look like a thing I would watch, but I might take a look at it just for the sake of completion. I don't know. I'm not even finished with Moon Knight. I couldn't get into that. And I've heard from a lot of people really good things about the last couple episodes, but I don't know. At some point, I'm sure I'll catch up, but anyway. Okay, let's go ahead and start getting to actual questions.
There is a
there's one super chat, so go ahead and read that real quick.
I don't know what it means, but
just read the words. Read the words, brother.
In all caps.
Yes.
Is the freaking cap?
Is it a question? Is there a question?
No.
Oh, it's the freaking. You know what he's doing. You know what he's doing. He's doing the Batman thing. It's the freaking bat.
Yeah.
That's what he's doing. It's me. It's the freaking Cap. Maybe one of these days I'll make it the freaking Cap Logan show.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what we'll do. Thanks so much for the super chat. And again, if you want to guarantee that your question or comment gets talked about, you can do a super chat, but we will do several pre-written right now. And hopefully Jason's got a few in the back of his mind. Go ahead, Jason.
And
pull them right out of your back pocket.
If you want to see your questions, if you want me to see your questions,
at Jason. Or at Video Game Secrets, either way.
Yeah.
At Kid with Tablet.
Yes. Mutale, Cap.
Hi.
The
freaking Cap.
Would you rather have Tom Hardy's Venom or Bane as a guest on the Captain Logan show?
Oh my goodness, that's very difficult to answer. Well, both of them would probably murder me at some point. That would be very dangerous. So it would
Only you.
only me. So at that point, it would just be a question of what would be the more entertaining interview before I was eviscerated. And I think I'm going with Bane. I think Bane for an hour or two would actually be less irritating of a voice to have to listen to than Venom, don't you think? And Bane would constantly like talk in these kind of like heightened sanctimonious platitudes, pretending like he has some kind of like a worldview or philosophy that I'm supposed to really think about and before I die, and he'd be talking a lot. He'd be trying to get me all hopeful about the end of the Captain Logan show before he murdered me, and then Venom would just constantly try to get me to apologize, and that would get really old after a while. Yeah, and he would constantly want my chocolate.
Yeah.
Yeah. And oh no, is it chocolate? Is it chocolate with him? What is it that he's constantly trying? And human brains too. Yeah. Because apparently both of those things.
He's Strykerzog's tongue.
He's Strykerzog's tongue?
Yes.
That's perfect. Absolutely. So yeah, Bane is definitely the answer. Yeah. Thanks for the question. That's hilarious.
It is.
All right, what else do you see, Jason?
John Ty.
Hello, John.
With only 3 more episodes of Star Trek Strange New Worlds.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts so far with the season?
I'm really enjoying it.
Me too.
Overall, I really am. And it's got issues.
There's some episodes here and there that are just blah.
I don't even want to say it's not perfect. Like, it's far from perfect. It's not the show I would make. It is kind of just a TOS throwback, but it's surprisingly thoughtful in a lot of ways. It doesn't feel condescending like those other shows. When it has a point to make, I understand what the point is. That's exciting. The way it's throwbacky is fun for me. Like, yeah, it's nostalgia bait. It absolutely is. I think it's better at that than some other things that are happening now. And even though you could say that each of its episodes are retread, the way I hope that we get further and further away from it so it can start to push some envelopes a little bit. Like people, when the Orville came out, people were like, you can't do that. You can't just do TNG again. And I heard people when Discovery started saying, well, this isn't the Star Trek I want, but the world is changing. We can't expect just TNG again. This is kind of just TOS again, except, and just TNG again in certain ways. And even there's the little Voyager mixed in, because each episode is kind of a TOS episode formula, but we are kind of pushing character arcs along. So it's not one overarching story, but things that people do in one episode are remembered in the next episode, and characters are changing and growing already, which I really appreciate. So it is a modern story in that way, but I do understand if people have the complaint that and I haven't looked a lot of criticism of the show except when it first started, when a lot of people like me were just shocked that it actually kind of felt like Star Trek again, in any way at all. So obviously my standards are a little in the floor with it, but I'm sure there are people complaining, because I do have this a little bit myself, that there's not really a lot new with this. A lot of the stories they're telling are kind of things that we've seen before, just repackaged in some way. But the way I'm choosing to look at it is this team and just the folks making new Trek seem to need a show like this, and I'm so glad that they're finally doing this, to prove to themselves that they can make Star Trek and to figure out what it is. And maybe to kind of prove to us that somebody there really gets it and knows what real science fiction stories look like. So, Jason, every single episode so far, right, has been real familiar.
Yeah.
Like the first episode is, and I won't go into spoilers, but I'll tell you what some of the archetypes are. The first episode is you've got 2 warring planets that can't get along. In this case, there are 2 factions of the same planet, and it's a prime directive thing, right? So we've been there and done that a bunch of times before. The second episode is there's some kind of strange like life form or oddity in space that we can't communicate with, that we need to figure out what to do to not get killed by it. The third episode is the plague episode is the everybody gets sick from some kind of space illness episode, right? The fourth episode is there's a ship, there's a bad guy ship in space, and we don't ever get on screen with whoever's running that ship. And it's a cat and mouse game. So that's the Balance of Terror episode, right? We did that with the Gorn. And then in the fifth episode, it's your goofy, jokey episode.
Yeah.
Your hijinks. The word hijinks even comes up in the episode. The hijinks episode.
Yeah.
And so I don't know what the next one's going to be. That comes out today, and I've not seen it yet. You're one. No, you're not one behind. Maybe we'll watch that tonight. Actually, we should do that if we have time. Well, just don't tell them what happens, because I've been watching them once before I show them to her, because I always like to watch any Star Trek I'm actually actively keeping up with. I have to see every episode twice when they come out. I've had this going all the way back to Voyager, like I always, or to Enterprise at least. I always do this. Oh yeah.
I feel like Strange New Worlds is just more Enterprise. Like it's in the same like.
And I said that when I reviewed the pilot. That's one of the things I'm really enjoying about it, is I wanted to see a remake of TOS as if Enterprise had happened, thinking of Enterprise as paving over the timeline. This is exactly that show. It remains that show.
Yeah.
I love Spock.
Yeah.
That actor's fantastic. I'm sure not everybody agrees with me on that, but he's channeling Nimoy in a really I think in a really smart way, in a really respectful way, where it doesn't feel like he's just doing a Nimoy, but he understands the spirit of that character, and so like it's a little different. But like he says sensors and stuff, like I don't know, it kind of I don't feel like I'm watching Nimoy, but I don't have to constantly remind myself that that's supposed to be Spock. Like it feels like him to me now.
I wasn't sure.
I like some of the things we're doing with number one. I really like Mbanga. I really like the Anar engineer. Like everybody's memorable in this show. The Noonien Sung thing or Sing thing is stupid, but I like her. I like that character. Anyway, I could go on about this. I'm really enjoying
I think my favorite character is the pilot.
Your favorite character is the first episode?
No. Not that.
Oh yeah, she's cool too.
Yeah. I always forget.
I thought she would grate on me, but I'm okay with her. It's not coming to me right
I wasn't sure about Spock in like the first couple episodes, but he started growing.
Are you liking him more now?
Yeah.
And
ever since he started singing, I think.
And of course, Pike is the reason people wanted the show to get made, and he continues to tear it up. He's just wonderful. Yeah. He knows just what he's in. And anyway, like I said, I could go on and on about it, but I'm really enjoying it. This will be the first new Trek show that I will buy merchandise from if they'll make it, and because it has the iconography of TOS, I think they might actually be able to get some people or get some companies to license stuff and maybe make some action figures. I'm sure we'll get action figures from Playmates, because Playmates is coming back and doing figures again, and I won't buy the Discovery ones, but I will buy these if they make them. Yeah. So anyway.
So, since we're on the topic of Star Trek.
Yes, sir. Orville? Did Orville come out?
It has.
I'm enjoying that as well.
We're gonna talk about that.
I haven't finished the second episode yet, though. I'm still like 15 minutes away from the end of that, but it's wonderful. And let me say this real quick. I'm really digging the longer episodes.
Really?
Like it takes its time, and some people might think that it drags a little bit, or that maybe they could be a little tighter, but so far, for just the stories they're telling, I think it's made a lot of sense. And this is the one minor spoiler I'll throw for this. But maybe I've told you this, Jason. But they gave the Orville a refit this season. Did I say about this? It gets a refit in the first episode, and the first episode is an hour and 10 minutes long. So it's somewhere between a regular length episode and a 2-part episode. And at first, I really thought maybe, because there's like 3 or 4 jokes in that entire episode, like you wouldn't think it was ever a parody show. And so far in that second episode, it's kind of like that too. I'm wondering when we get to the episode where they get back to parody at all. Like it hasn't been that yet. But I was just gonna say and I don't think this is what they're doing, but I wanted it to be when I thought of it until the second episode came out, because the second episode is like an hour 5 or an hour 2, so it's real close. But they do a refit. And then the episode is a lot longer than normal. And motion picture is where the Enterprise refit happens. And I thought the runtime was a joke. like in and of itself. I thought they were like, we got to refit so it's the special longer version. And that would have been awesome, but I don't actually think that's what they're doing.
But there was a $10 super chat.
Let's do that, absolutely.
Roger Lee,
Yeah.
Cap.
Hi.
How much of the Orville New Horizons have you watched so far, and what are your overall thoughts thus far?
My apologies. I didn't know the super chat was about Orville. Sorry. You should have stopped me.
Well,
somebody stop me.
I was gonna, but then you would stop talking.
It's my show, man.
I know.
That's my favorite criticism that I get. Wow, Cap likes to talk, and I'm like, says the Captain Logan show in the title. We do live shows on this channel. Like, what else should I be doing? I want to do a show where I just do this. And then somebody goes, when are you going to start talking? And then I'll come back with, well, people are complaining that I like talking. I don't know. I figured I'd just have a whole channel where I just do that. Anyway, I'm sorry. Read the rest of the super chat.
I dare say it has elevated its quality beyond what I could have hoped for.
So I absolutely agree.
I haven't seen all of season 2. I don't think I've even seen all of season 1. So
yeah, so I won't spoil anything major, but I will say I agree with that. I thought the second season also did that. We're right away really playing with the mythology and the lore of this world finally a lot more than we had before. And I would say that even with the big Krill two-parter that's now kind of legendary for fans of that show. It's the episode. It's the best of both worlds of that show. And we're really building on it in that second season. In some ways, it feels like it's the last thing that happened, even though it's not. There's episodes after it. But even with that, I feel like most of the second season, you could probably watch an episode without having seen any of it before, and you'd be able to catch up. And some of the stuff we do with the Mocklins and stuff. This season, right away, it seems like the mission statement is we're gonna do a more serialized thing. It's still episodic, absolutely. I mean, it's still beginning, middle, and end for an episode, but it feels a lot more like a. Like a so far, I mean, two episodes in, a season of DS9 or an Enterprise season 3, but not as heavy in so far anyway of the kind of plot heavy overarching story of an Enterprise season 3, but just you do have to have seen some of the show. You know what I mean? Like you're really not going to fully appreciate what you're looking at if you haven't. And we were hoping a lot of fans of the show, I think, that it would eventually get there, and that it could really move past the parody thing. And when it has, jokes now, it feels a lot more like a standard Star Trek show.
Is it kind of Enterprise season 1-y?
No, it's not. It's a lot. I mean, it's a lot more like just the better seasons of TNG and DS9, where it will, because I mean Star Trek's always had a lot of comedy in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just the brand of comedy is still the brand it was at the beginning. But it's just not interrupting the narrative anymore. It seems like, I think the best way I could describe it is if you've seen that brilliant two-parter in season 2, which by the way has one of the best Brandon Braga scripts of all time, and I never thought I would want to see him come back in a Star Trek show or a Star Trek-like show, and I was like, thank God, because he's doing his best work in this show. It's spectacular. It feels like they used the Krill two-parter I keep saying Krill, the Kalon two-parter, pardon me. The Kalon are I don't want to give anything away. The main robot in the show is the Data-like character is a Kalon, and there's a huge two-parter with them in the second season. It feels like that's the blueprint for this entire season, and that's all I wanted. It's wonderful. Yeah. It's wonderful.
So, since we keep talking about Star Trek and these kind of things,
Can I say one more thing about that?
Yes.
We're probably not going to get any more of that show. And I'm hoping it gets a good ending if that's the case. And it is kind of sad that it's taken them 6 years to be able to put out 3 seasons. But I think it will have a solid run. And it will be very rewatchable going back when we have all of it, assuming they really stick the landing for the season as a whole. But they've released all the actors from their contracts. Everybody's moved on and they're doing different things now. They did principal photography for this season, I think, a year ago. I mean, I think they've been sitting on it all this time, just editing it and getting it together and getting it ready, and they were affected by COVID like everything else was. And McFarlane is doing a prequel to Ted for some reason that I keep hearing people say, like, nobody wants that. Why aren't you just making more Orville? I don't know if he's burnt out. I don't know if Hulu's not real enthusiastic about them doing more, but some of the producers keep saying, no, we want to come back. It's not officially canceled, but it's also not officially renewed either. So it's hard to say what's going to happen with that. I'm hoping because there's a lot of talented people working on the show. It's not just McFarlane, and obviously you needed McFarlane to get the show going in the first place. It's his baby. He's the sole creator of that show. He wrote a lot of the scripts in the first season. I mean, you watch the beginning of that, it's just episode after episode after episode. It's just sole credit by McFarlane. This guy's making the show all by himself. And you start looking at producer credits and stuff, and you go, oh wait, no, there's a bunch of Star Trek alumni on this. And I want to see if some of the actors want to come back regardless of being released from contracts. I think it should move on without McFarlane. I'm hoping that the end of, if he won't come back, don't get me wrong, I don't want him written out. I like Mercer. I still don't think they do enough with him in his own show, but I like him. But I'm hoping that, especially it being a season 3, I'm hoping that he is written out somehow at the end of this so that they can have a back door to keep the show going if they want to. That's my hope. But I think it would be cool to do some sort of kind of best of both worlds thing at the end of the season, Jason. And that's why I said it's kind of fun that it's season 3, where you make it like a best of both worlds or like a Scorpion, where there's a big cliffhanger about maybe a character's going to leave the show, or maybe a character's going to die. And then you actually kill him this time. Yeah. Or you write him out in some other way. Anyway, yeah. That's what I'm hoping happens. So when I see it has a good ending, I'm actually okay with something of a cliffhanger ending, just for the possibility of it coming back. But I also hope that somehow you can also serve as a satisfying conclusion. I don't know if it's possible to do both, but can we continue on now? I apologize.
Yes. So.
Hi.
Star Trek.
Yeah.
So
we're still talking about Star Trek.
We talked about Orville, which is basically just Star Trek. We're gonna talk about more Star Trek.
Oh wow.
Busted Sim.
Busted Sim doesn't like Strange New Worlds, and I imagine he's going to argue with me about it. Is he arguing about it?
No.
Oh, okay.
Question.
And I mean, he's completely entitled to his opinion, and I totally understand why he feels that way. I just brought it up because I thought I might have to defend myself.
Question.
Player 1. Yes.
What if, instead of Star Trek, Alex Kurtzman was given the Power Rangers IP? I mean, he somehow made the best Transformers cartoon in years. Nothing but crap still then, but still.
Isn't that crazy? Isn't it just bizarre? And that made me think that maybe with Transformers Prime or Stan Kurtzman, because they're both apparently the creators of that show, I wonder if they were just kind of hands off on it. I wonder if their names are on it and they really didn't work on it that much. It's hard to say. I don't know. But that's a good call. Maybe it's sort of like, what's his name, who wrote Spider-Man for years? Dan Slott. Maybe it's like Dan Slott, where they're pretty good at kids material, but they don't know how people fit together. But the thing is, Prime, what I saw of it, characters seemed pretty real in that show. Like there was a humanity to it. But I don't think they were actually writing it, so I don't know. But that's a good call. The thing is, as much as I love Power Rangers, I can't get as deeply affected by it being bad, especially because most of Power Rangers is bad by most measure. You know what I mean? Like if he came in, see, I say that, and then Hasbro's going to come in and do a reboot of Power Rangers that is my worry that I'm going to hate, and then I'm going to be frustrated, and then I'm going to be like, okay, it's not what I want. I guess what I should say is, if you come in and you still make it a mostly kiddie thing, and it's just not for me, and it's kind of bad, it's hard for me to get too worked up about it, because it hasn't been good in a lot of years, and I still have what I like, and Power Rangers lives in a different plane of storytelling, you know what I mean? But if you try to make it for me, you know what I mean? Like a more adult thing like the Boom comics have, because I like a lot of that stuff, but I have been frustrated about some of the direction it's gone. Having said all of that, yeah, give him Power Rangers over Star Trek all day long, absolutely. Because even if he destroys it, it's not as big of a deal to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
It can still be a good toy commercial, potentially. You can still have good toys, I suppose.
Okay.
I don't know.
So.
That's a great question, though.
Yeah.
Because I don't want him to have that either. But
yeah.
There was an announcement recently that and I don't remember her name, but we've got a showrunner for one of the Power Rangers reboot shows, because there's apparently going to be a bunch of them, and so I assume this is going to be the more adult one. But there's a female showrunner that has been hired who I've never heard of, who worked on Jessica Jones and I think Cloak and Dagger, and then a couple other shows that I've never heard of, and said very generic things about the IP, where she was just like, Hasbro has exciting IPs, and I'm glad I'm working on them. And that was it. And she's apparently showrunning Power Rangers, so I don't know what to think about that, but it seems like they're handing it to somebody that isn't already, a fan of that material, and who knows if she grew up with it or anything. But my worry is with that pick, it's going to be very heavily pushing in the direction of whatever it is, make sure that it's a lot closer to a like heavy PG-13 or R kind of thing. And I hope it doesn't do that.
Yeah.
But maybe maybe at the very least she'll go, what's been popular recently? And go look at the Boom stuff, and then just adapts that. Because as much as I don't really want just constant Draken, I mean, I'd rather that than something that,
it's hardly Power Rangers.
And that kids can't see.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Like, what if they made like an adult, version of the new, like, not new, but like the newer Ninja Turtles Nickelodeon show?
Yeah. But again, they're supposed to do like, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Something like that.
Darth somebody says, I hope, who is that? I don't know.
Darth Bobo.
Darth Bobo says, I hope it's not, the comments disappear off my screen right away. Says, I hope it's not another CW type drama. Yeah, me too. I think there is danger of that. Absolutely.
Okay, so...
If it gets close to Power Rangers RPM, I'm fine with it, says John Ty. I just hope they do stuff with the mythology. If the Power Rangers stuff like 2017 is largely in the background and super generic, and we hardly even name anything, and we have just kind of token lip service fights for 6 seconds at the ends of episodes, that's not what anybody wants.
Yeah.
That's not what anybody wants. Like, the thing they've got to really be careful about, and this is what I'm afraid they will do, Jason, is they've got to be careful not to try to, and I think this is probably likely what will happen, unfortunately. They need to be careful not to try to make it about bringing in new people and forgetting about the base that's there already. You make something for the base, and I don't mean just like take a poll and you don't even understand what people want and you try to give them that. I just mean give it to people that are already excited about the material, and then that understand the IP, and especially the fans that are into it now, and then make it for them, but make it a thing that's accessible in the sense that you can win over new people, because there are other folks around that didn't grow up with Power Rangers that might still enjoy the things that I like about Power Rangers. That's how you win new people over. You don't ignore us and give them what you think they want. That doesn't work, because then what you end up with is just, and we've seen this with so many things, right? Then you just end up with something super generic that is not for anybody at all.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, I know we were
What else
definitely
you got,
not going to make this a lead-in topic.
Yeah.
But people have been talking about it. We should probably talk about Tim Sale.
Yeah. Yeah, so Tim Sale passed away today, and we've been out all day, and I haven't looked at any articles or anything. So all I know is that he died, and it was shocking and out of nowhere. And I don't know if this is another case of, somebody let me know in the comments, because I did not look this up before we started broadcasting. I just forgot to do it. I don't know, but he was only 66, and I don't know if this is another case of a guy that was battling an illness for a long time and didn't want anybody to know about it, so nobody knew, or if it was a thing that, maybe his family knew, but just wasn't real publicized because he was a comic artist and there's not as much press sometimes. So I don't know, but nobody saw that coming, and it was really sad, of course. And we've been losing a lot of major comic artists lately, and a lot of and writers, and a lot of I guess mostly artists, because and some of my favorite people. Neil Adams just passed away, and a couple others, yeah. So yeah, it's super sad. I'll have to look into that, but hopefully, I talked to Connor. Let me know about it. He was the first person I heard from. My phone lit up when it happened. He was the first person I heard from, and he said that he was hoping that we could do a review of something that Tim Sale did sometime soon. And I was supposed to do something on Neil Adams with Kareem, and it's been a few weeks now, but we just haven't been able to get our schedules to align. But anyway, yeah, yeah, it's nuts. It's awful. But yeah, what else have you got?
I have things.
He's got things.
Butele.
Yeah.
Tom Hardy recently said he is working on the Venom 3 script, and it may be his last one. Thoughts? ?
Well, I wish this last one had done abysmally and was the last one, but alas, yeah, he's writing it. Did he write the last one? I think he wrote the last one.
I think he did.
It's like we just don't. We don't even know who to have write these things, but hey, they're making $1 billion. I don't really have any thoughts. If I could skip it, I would. Honestly, I really, really detested that last one. The first one was a fun guilty pleasure for me, but certainly not what I want from Venom. And then we had a thing that was a lot of the things that I most found irritating about that first movie, and didn't get Cletus Cassidy at all. And it's not hard. It's not like he's a deep character or anything, but just didn't have any fun with Carnage at all. It felt like, oh, we sort of did Carnage the first movie, and then we just did him again. So now we have a Carnage that feels like a carbon copy of the generic kind of nothing villain from the first movie.
Yeah.
I found that movie very difficult to get through, and I don't want to have to watch it again. And I will for Rewind and commentaries and things, and it will be hard not to just be sad and let my eyes glaze over, but whatever. I'm sure that third movie is just going to be another, Venom versus another evil Venom. My prediction is
Agent Venom.
Oh, don't ruin that with that material, but you could be right. You absolutely could be right. It's either going to be just the same story they've done already twice, basically, again, or I could see them trying to be sort of ambitious and going wild with it and going to space. I could maybe see them doing that, but I guess we'll see. Okay, we're at, 52 minutes? So we've got 8 minutes left on the show, and we might go a few minutes longer than that, depending on what comes up. I've been kind of rambling about Star Trek and stuff. So, yeah, go ahead.
I don't have much, but...
Oh, well, maybe we'll only go for the next 8 minutes. Jeff Loeb, Tim Sale's Marvel and DC work are good kids comics. That's Chewbacca's lover. Good kids comics. Some of their stuff I don't think is especially appropriate for kids at all, but... Well, while we're waiting...
Yeah.
Let's do our recommends real quick, shall we? We were gonna show you guys... So we showed you guys some of the cool stuff that we got this week, and now we're going to
recommend tea.
I do like Gold Peak tea, but I'm not going to recommend that. I think they get a lot of play right now. I think a lot of people have moved from soda over to sweet tea, but I want to show you guys a couple games that we've been learning this week.
Yeah.
Jason and I did this last year. It's starting to turn into a ritual for us. We came out to Branson and we learned some board games that we've been sitting on for a while that we hadn't had time to learn. And there's a board game cafe here that we love to frequent when we're in town. We're going to go tomorrow. We've not been yet this trip, but we've been playing games here in the cabin. And we learned 2 new ones, and we like them both. And we'd like to tell you about them very briefly.
Yes.
So, Jason, would you please talk...
Oh, no.
Again, real briefly, just tell everybody a little bit about... Actually, I'll set this up real quick. The Power Rangers deck building game. So, this is by Renegade Studios, and Renegade makes Heroes of the Grid, which is the Power Rangers board game, the miniatures game that I am obsessed with, that I've been playing and painting for the last 2 years. We put a lot of hours into that game, and I've done a lot of promotion on the channel for it because I love it so much. I've interviewed Jonathan Ying on the channel, who created the game. He was wonderful. Check that video out if you haven't seen it. And anyway, they have this IP. It's been going extremely well with Heroes of the Grid. That game is just expanding all the time. Everybody's running out of space in their house that's all in on it, like I am. And did another Power Rangers game. They also just put out
by Matt Hydra.
Matt Hydra. They also put out a RPG, which I've not gotten into, a paper and pencil RPG. The deck building game they were working on a year and a half ago, or maybe a year ago, and I was supposed to help play test this. I volunteered to do that, and then I got busy and I couldn't do it. And so, ironically, we just finally learned how to play it. A second box has come out even. And I bought this too, but still hadn't played it. Here is Zeo. And Jason and I finally learned how to play this, and we have played the first game twice now, and Zeo we're going to play tomorrow. It is another standalone box that you can play by itself, but like a lot of deck builders, like the DC deck building game and other things, they stack, and you can play them together. And anyway, so Jason, talk a little bit about the Power Rangers deck builder.
So the Power Rangers deck builder is a deck builder with the Power Rangers IP
Should I be talking about this? Can you do this?
You said briefly.
Yeah, I did. And
so this is
you're just saying everything I just said.
So this is like a lot of deck builders.
Yeah.
A lot, like, I mean, I haven't played a lot. Like, I've played the DC deck.
It's got a lot in common with the DC one.
Yeah.
It is one, unlike the DC game, where you actually do attack each other, and you're dropping down from 30 hit points trying to get the person to 0. So it's pretty standard in that way. But it has some new mechanics that I had not seen before.
Yeah, and you know, there are like Zords and stuff too, and there are these like really cool like cardboard
counter things.
Yeah, counter things that counter your hearts and stuff. And that's cool.
One of the things that's cool about this, especially if you've played Heroes of the Grid, is all the stuff that they can incorporate in it that doesn't make sense in the miniatures game. Yeah. So you actually, when you play as a ranger, are unmorphed initially, and then you can build up enough stuff to be able to morph, which is pretty cool and surprisingly satisfying. The first time I morphed, I was like, yeah, I'm morphed! And that was pretty cool. The mechanic with that and Zords and untapping all of the Zords at once by spinning energy is pretty cool. Yeah. The villain side has a similar mechanic, but it's a little bit different. The game works by having a character card that you attach different things to, and depending on what character you are, you're able to equip different kinds of things like maneuvers and equipment and stuff. And yeah, so I mean, it's really familiar if you've played deck builders at all, and that's one of the things I like about it, because it's pretty easy to learn quickly if you're familiar with this kind of thing at all. But it does go its own way enough. It is original enough, and I think it's a little bit less generic as a standalone box. This is one of the things that Renegade does so well, is they give you plenty in the first box. If you never want to get another expansion, there's plenty to do here, and you don't feel like you need constant DLC, to put it in video game terms, right? And the DC game, as much as I love it, and as much of that as I've bought, does not have that. If you play just the first DC game, in my opinion, you're going to long for more content. And I didn't have that with this. I was like, you know, there's and I'll get all the promo stuff.
I don't have that with the DC game.
I'll get the promo stuff eventually, but like there's a White Ranger promo for this, and I didn't feel like I was missing by not having that.
Yeah.
Hi, what's up?
Hey man, what's up? Hey, how's your air conditioner doing? Holding up?
It's been okay. I had we're doing a show in here, a live show, so I had to turn it off. So I haven't had it on for about the last hour.
Okay. But like regularly, you doing good?
Yeah, it's been fine. Are you guys having trouble with it?
Oh man, it's hotter out inside than it is inside. I don't mean to interrupt your life.
Oh, that's okay, no problem. I thought maybe we were bothering you guys or something.
No, not at all. I mean, yeah, you are. No, not at all.
I'm so sorry.
Not at all. But like, are you guys good?
Yeah, we're not having. I'm sorry, you guys are.
I got you guys cooking in here.
We haven't been. We just using the microwave.
We use the microwave and the coffee pot at the same time.
Remember last night, whenever everything went
Oh,
out?
is that what? Okay, so you think maybe you shorted it out?
Well,
I mean, it's running, but it's not.
our AC's not, dude. It's cooler out here than it is.
Oh
in the
no,
house.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. We
Guys.
just wanted to check out.
Yeah,
what you were
absolutely.
Check out
doing.
yours and see if you were.
No, we're not having any problem with it, but I'm sorry you guys are. I wish there was something I can do to help.
Oh no, not at all. We just wanted
I'm a
to
horticulture
check.
guy, and
Okay, cool.
it looks
Yep.
like we're packing up and gonna go
Gotta find
somewhere
something else.
Oh man, I'm sorry about that.
I'm so glad you guys are having a good night.
Yeah.
And hey, good luck with your live stream.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it.
Hell yeah, I hope you guys make some money.
Thanks. See you later. Bye, man. Okay, guys, that was horribly unprofessional. I apologize. Right in the middle of a stream, but we've got neighbors at this cabin we're at that don't have air conditioning. I don't know how much of that people could hear, but they don't have any air conditioning. It got messed up for them, and they knocked on the door, and I thought I was gonna get chewed out for being too loud or something. That's where I thought that was going.
Me too, yeah.
I was like, oh no. Anyway, but we're good apparently. So wonderful, and we're at an hour, but. I haven't been actually talking to you guys for the last 4 minutes, so why don't we do a couple more quick questions? Well, let's talk real briefly about the other game that we were going to mention.
Yeah.
This is the thing I bought 3 years ago. Were you talking to people in the I guess you could have been talking at the camera the whole time.
I could have, but I didn't know if that was like okay or not.
I should have said something. It's whatever. Anyway, things are interesting when you're out of town. You can't plan for everything. You don't know what's going to happen. Here's a very silly game that Jason and I loved.
I'm addicted to it.
I don't know that everyone will like this. This is a game I bought 3 years ago that apparently nobody else did, called Star Trek Conflict. And this is a game where you play as Star Trek ships, and you have wooden tokens, and you flip them around a board, trying to knock other ships out and gaining points to win the game. And it's basically a big Star Trek battle between Federation ships and Klingons, but I don't think the IP really matters very much. The property. I really enjoyed this. I think it could have been anything. It could have been Star Wars. It could have. You suggested Pokemon. I think it could have been anything.
Yeah.
But I think the. And again, I don't know if you can even get this anymore. It's probably not in print. This was made by WizKids, and it's a really easy game. We learned it in about 20 minutes, and it plays 20 minutes to 45. Just depending on how well you're playing, how good your flicks are. There's a big board, you flick things around. The mechanics are pretty solid. I think there's enough variety with all the different ships and the different things they let you do. There's a lot of abilities that you have that are specific to the physics and the mechanics of just flicking pieces of wood, which is kind of fun. So there's some ships that let you put your shields up, and you do that by putting your finger on top of one of your ships, and then a person can't flick a ship into it because you're holding it down.
I tried.
It's
it
fantastic.
Just bounced off.
There's a Tholian ship that you have to put on its side, and then you flick it, and it rolls, and you're hoping that it flips over back flat, or it gets destroyed. So there's a lot of really fun, inventive things with that. We enjoyed it quite a bit. I think that'll be a fun family game. Another thing to note about the Power Rangers deck builder, and really that one too, is that both of them are designed more for 4 players than for 2. And the biggest issue we're having with the Power Rangers deck builder, as much as we're enjoying the mechanics, is it seems to be very lopsided in the favor of the villains.
The villains always win. We've played 2 games, and the villains won both times. And
I was the villain the first time. He was the villain the second time, and you're losing a lot more life as the heroes, and you can't gain as much energy.
Yeah,
that's
harder
the issue
to get energy.
that we were both finding.
I thought I was just not
just playing it poorly.
Yeah, I thought I was just not getting enough cards that had energy, but I don't know. Because I was doing the same thing I was doing last time when I was the villains, when I was just doing the same strategy. But I don't know.
Why don't you go ahead and read us a couple more questions if we have more now?
Yes.
And again, I apologize for the interruption earlier. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, Mutale.
Hi.
Cap.
Yes.
Apparently, The Flash tested positively in test screenings. Did it make you hopeful for that film despite the Ezra situation?
I don't want to be negative and just assume it's going to be bad because of all the things that I'm not excited about with that movie and not liking Ezra Miller's acting in the first place and all of that, but that surprises me a tad. But my worry is all it means is Keaton got a lot of screen time and people are nostalgic for 89. It doesn't really tell us anything about story and about whether it holds together very well as a movie, if it's very cohesive, if it feels less like a movie written by 45 writers than you want it to, because it was written by 45 writers apparently. No, I'm just going to have to see it before I have... I mean, and that's true of really anything at the end of the day, but yeah, that doesn't make me any more or less hopeful for it, I don't think. Because, I mean, with respect to everybody, a lot of people, of course, really, really love No Way Home. And I don't hate that movie. It was fun. It's not what I want, and it's not the direction I want superhero movies to be going.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't have that, and a lot of mainstream audiences don't feel that way, and are very happy with this nostalgia bait thing and cookie cutter stories that aren't especially character driven, or where characters are, in my opinion, very out of character in a contrived way, just so that we can make these hacking plots happen. And it's hard to believe that that's not what's going to happen with this. But I hope it's not. I hope I go in and I'm pleasantly surprised by it. At the same time, I don't want them to make more movies with that Flash, and I don't want them to make more DCEU movies in general. I mean, it's time to really scrap the whole kit and caboodle. And I think even with the things that I'm liking, like we're getting an Aquaman sequel, we're getting a Shazam sequel. I want it to be the end for all that stuff. I really do. I want to start completely over, even if the stuff is pretty good, just because we're still stuck with the baggage, and I'm sick of it. I'm really excited for all the potential projects that DC can make that MCU has a harder time with, because it's all got to be in the same continuity. And if they, strike gold with something where it makes sense to then go into a new shared universe where they've got a good foundation in the first place, fine, that's great. But I'm sick of the Snyder baggage and the early DCEU baggage. I'm ready to move on from all of that. And if this is successful, it means that we're going to be perpetually stuck in it, maybe forever. And I don't like that. Even if it's good, I just want to get away from it.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it.
Okay, Logan Dodd.
Hi, Logan Dodd.
Hey!
Whoa, that's a little loud.
Is anyone gonna go see Lightyear? I'm hearing not great things.
Ooh, unfortunate. I am going to see it because, I always wanted to. I thought it was a cool idea. I thought it was a neat potential project, and I was a little bit leery after the most recent trailers. People keep asking me if I'm going to review that movie. I've decided to see it first, and then I'll gauge after that if I really want to talk about it, or in what capacity. So, I'm not going to announce a review for that until I've seen it, and I'll probably talk about it in some capacity, maybe just 5 or 10 minutes on this show and give you my initial thoughts. But especially if I'm just real lukewarm on it and I don't have a lot of insight or anything. But if it's really interesting, either as a success or failure, then I'll do how we felt about it, or a spoiler cast.
Yeah,
that's my plan. So I'm not saying if I like it, I'm reviewing it. Like if I dislike it, but it's interesting, I'll talk about it. You see what I'm saying?
it's like Jurassic World Dominion. Like, it wasn't interesting.
That's the thing, is I planned a spoiler cast for that, and then I was like, I don't want to talk about this for that long. And I still spent an hour and 15 on it somehow. But if we'd done full spoilers, it would have been a lot longer, and I didn't want to. I mean, that's the bottom line. I just wasn't interested in spending that much time on that movie and giving it that kind of attention. So I'm being choosier now. So I will discuss it in some capacity, but I'm not even promising a whole video. So anyway, folks, is there anything else that's real pressing that you're seeing?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do one more then.
One more. Chewbacca's lover.
Hi.
Is at me.
Oh, well.
Old enough to review Batman Year One. or Dark Knight Returns, maybe Long Halloween.
Wow. Well, I think at this point I would let you read any of those stories. I don't know about, he didn't mention this, I don't know about Killing Joke. That might be a bridge too far. It's hard to say. We did let you read Watchmen,
Yeah.
and none of those things are any rougher or have adult subject matter that you're not mature enough, I don't think, for yet. There might be some discussion we have to have after you read it, like we did with Watchmen. But yeah, I think I'd let you look at any of those things. And it might be fun to hear your thoughts on camera about some of them. Absolutely.
Okay.
If you had any interest, certainly.
Yeah.
Well, guys, thanks a lot for watching. Hope you had a good time. Sorry about the weirdness earlier, but I appreciate you being here. And I'll be back with you again next Thursday night for another one. I'll be back to regularly scheduled programming. The plan right now is to come back. So Jason and I have to finish our vacation and his dance competition. Sunday night, the plan right now is to do a superhero rewind that I don't have to do a ton of preparation for, because I just don't have time this week to watch movies and stuff. So I'm currently planning on doing a what if show about superhero movie history and talking about 10 to 20 probably different major events in superhero movies and what might happen if they happened differently. And we have a post on Geekvolution social media on YouTube on the community tab. If you've not left a potential what if question there, you can go there and leave one. I'm going to pick my favorites. I'm not promising doing all of them. We'll be there all night. I'm going to, and I might do several of these. This might be a good fill-in thing to do, to occasionally come back and do one of these what if shows. Yep. So that's what we're going to do on Sunday.
I might comment.
Is the tentative plan. If we don't get back early enough, or if I'm just not up for it that day after this week, I will let everybody know and we'll put it off a week. But that is the plan right now, and I'll keep everybody posted if that changes. Thanks a lot for being here. We appreciate you. I'm Captain Logan. This was Jason.
That was me, at me.
And thanks again for all of the questions and the interaction. Hope you had a good time. See you later, folks.
Bye.